Guys, if you go see Shazam and you really want to enjoy it, just follow this one weird trick.
Lower your expectations.
This movie is fun, but dumb. So long as you do not expect greatness, you can enjoy yourself. Just let go and have a good time. Let's talk about the fun, then the dumb, and keep in mind, I am not skilled enough to do a spoiler-free review, nor do I care to, so you've been warned. Since this movie is about gods, I have in my cup today the nectar of the gods, McDonald's Diet Coke. Right away, let's talk about the national treasure that is Zachary Levi. I love this guy's sense of humor. If you haven't seen Chuck, finish this video first, like and subscribe, then go watch all of that show. It's criminal. This guy doesn't have a bigger career. You can't help but love him. He's like a less crass Ryan Reynolds. Guys, I can't sell it any harder than that, okay? And he's great as Shazam. He makes a fantastic, unlikely superhero, and he's still figuring things out, and he's wildly impressed with his own powers. Most of the comedy is him being hammy and showing off something he can do, or remarking how awesome it was that he just did something and taunting the bad guys. He's goofy in a lovable way. His true form of Billy Batson isn't on screen much, so it's kind of easy to forget that he is a 17-year-old with Superman powers, and he acts like it. You've also got some really wholesome moments with Billy and his foster family. He's dealing with some rejection issues because both his parents left him. He's bounced around the system for a long time, and then finally he finds this super family. But they've got their own lives too. They're growing up, they're moving on, they want to do their own superhero thing. His foster brother Freddie, who he's closest to, he's crippled, and he is exploring his own power, and he's enjoying the attention and the confidence he gets from being a superhero. Basically, Freddie is going through the arc that we saw Billy go through in the first movie. Billy is trying desperately to keep a group of children with superpowers together and on task, and it's not going well. Basically, if you enjoyed the comedy from the first movie, you can enjoy this movie. You just need to set aside your need for cohesion or sense or anything. Just go into the theater expecting some Michael Bay action and some easy comedy, and you will have fun. There is something to be said for fun. I like deep characters. I like a well-written story. There's also a time and a place for mindless fun, and I like that too, and this is that movie. Let's talk plot details.
It makes no damn sense.
This plot is very much like Frozen 2 in that nobody expected the first one to do as well as it did, and then they wanted a sequel, so they had to pretend that stuff from the first movie actually meant something and then expand on it. Or just make crap up. We open up with two people in Greek warrior armor stealing a staff from a museum. If you don't remember the staff at first, it's because it wasn't like a big focal point of the first movie. It's a magic staff that a wizard had. I don't think it was ever supposed to be more than that. Did the magic flow out of the staff into Shazam? Is there still power in the staff? Did the wizard ever have any of his own magic? The answers to these questions and more remain in superposition, collapsing differently depending on the writer's needs at the time. They explain that when Shazam broke the staff in the first movie, he broke a magical seal that was preventing the Daughters of Atlas from coming to this realm. Or just, maybe this realm is Earth. It's not super clear, or I just don't remember. Anyway, the women force the wizard, who is alive, because he needs to be alive, they force him to reforge the staff, even though he says he doesn't have any magic. I guess he just gets the magic when he touches the staff, but he doesn't have any magic after he's touched the staff, even though everybody else does. Then they set about trying to steal powers from the Shazam fam and get the golden apple and plant it to restore the Tree of Life and restore their realm. Nobody else invades the realm, except just these three, even though the staff apparently stole power from all the Greek gods. Honestly, it's like the writers Googled Greek mythology and just grabbed some keywords that seemed famous and they shoved them in the movie. Now, the sisters don't know where the Shazams are, and instead of just like causing a disaster and waiting for them to show up and save the day, they covertly send a third sister into Freddy's high school to flirt with him and get him to call one of the Shazams because he's famous for having had lunch with some superheroes at the end of the first movie, if you recall. In the 2 days that she knows him between classes, this 6,000-year-old goddess falls so in love with an awkward teenage boy that she later betrays her sisters to save him. Don't worry, Hollywood doesn't have groomer messages in their movies. It's a one-time thing. They definitely don't make a second joke later on about how both of the boys have a thing for older ladies. Everybody in this movie forgets the powers that they have conveniently. The The sisters have the power of the elements and chaos and creation. Sometimes they're super overpowered and other times they don't use them at all. While they're trying to steal the powers from the family, those heroes also forget they have superpowers. Each of them is basically Superman, and there are 6. It's wildly overpowered, so idiot plot has to be employed to keep things going. The villains are using the staff to zap them with lightning and steal their powers, and at one point they run away from this on foot at normal speed when it has been clearly established that every one of them has super speed. Sometimes they use the speed to run up and grab the staff or win a battle, and then other times they're just standing helplessly still. We also have an expanded Rock of Eternity lair, which they have humorously tricked out to be a teenager cave. We now have a large cave off to the side, the Hall of Doors, which is full of magical doors that lead to other realms. It was there in the first movie, it was just off screen. It just was, we didn't need it the first time. Also a giant never before mentioned library with a magic pen that can send magic paper notes to anyone anywhere. Huh, lucky. Later in the movie, the sisters do end up planting the apple and it produces a tree whose roots start popping out Greek mythology monsters like cyclopi, minotaurs, and banshees. Also unicorns, which are infodumped to be terrifying and deadly to all the other Greek monsters. The youngest sister insists that she could tame a unicorn because they love ambrosia and she has a pocket full of Skittles. They end up taming an entire herd of the deadly beasts and ride them into battle. None of this makes a single bit of sense, but it does pay off as they ride toward the monsters and she shouts her battle cry, "Taste the rainbow, motherfucker!" This is what I'm talking about. It's a very fun moment. Just don't think about it too hard. In the end, Billy sacrifices himself to destroy the sisters and the tree, but of course the stakes are 0. They bury him and apparently the magic is all gone, but then Wonder Woman shows up and she touches the staff and the magic comes back and he's revived. He pops out of the grave and tries to flirt with her because he's been fantasizing about her the whole movie, and it's awkward, and then she leaves. It's funny, it's dumb. I can't stress this enough. None of this ties into the larger DCU as a whole, except for when Shazam mentions their names as he's fanboying over them. This movie clearly wasn't planned, and it speaks to the failure of DC trying to make their own MCU without a plan. All right, so long as you know all of this, and you properly set your expectations, this really is a fun movie to see. Have you seen Shazam? Do you intend to? Let me know your thoughts, as I do enjoy reading them, and I appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time.